Alzheimer's. We were going to talk about that.
Ugh.
Obviously, pretty
Brutal.
devastating disease for everyone involved, the families and all of that stuff. What are we learning about this?
Second leading cause of death in the UK. Second leading cause of death, Alzheimer's. Not the second leading cause of premature death, but second leading cause of death across the board right now, Alzheimer's. That, because I was looking for the talk today, I was given a, and I was like, what are the top killers here? Now, in terms of most death and disability.
Die from it?
It is an invariably fatal disease.
Okay, because most people think...
It is a fatal disease.
All right, so it doesn't just remove your memory and cognition.
It removes your life, right? And so it is a neurodegenerative disease, and it's just that your memory centers are hit first, but it eventually degenerates the rest of your disease until you can't swallow anymore, and you die in your own secretions, you can't breathe anymore. So not only do you lose your memories, and to a point, if you live this long, where you no longer recognize yourself or your loved ones in the mirror, millions. So in the States, 4 million Americans currently affected, right? With an aging population, it's just going to get worse. And not only do we have no good treatments, we have no treatments. The drugs that are out there now have zero impact on progression. They can impact symptoms. So some people get combatives, so we give them sedatives. But in terms of the progression of the disease, no drug has ever been shown to have any effect on progression. But controlling heart disease risk factors, so high blood pressure, high cholesterol, opening up the arteries in the brain, getting more blood flow up there is the only thing ever been proven to slow the progression of the disease. But again, not reverse it, right? It just gets worse slowly. And in advanced Alzheimer's, right, it's a real ethical question whether we actually want to prolong that state.
Yeah, good point, I mean.
So now, the only, the caveat it's important to realize is this is a clinical diagnosis. Right now, Alzheimer's is predominantly a clinical diagnosis, meaning there's no test, Alzheimer's test. And so if you've been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, does that mean you're invariably going to die? Only if you actually have Alzheimer's. And some people being diagnosed with Alzheimer's actually have a type of dementia that can be treated, reversed, cured. Like if they have a normal pressure hydrocephalus, for example. My mother was diagnosed with normal pressure hydrocephalus. It's where normally you create this cerebrospinal fluid that cushions your brain, your spinal cord. And you make it and you absorb it, make it, absorb it. And if the outlet where you're absorbing it gets clogged up, the pressure builds up in your brain and you start getting demented. So my mom started getting demented. Her mom died of Alzheimer's.
Oh, wow.
And so, oh my God, here we go. So devastated the whole family, right? And so her doctor told her she had Alzheimer's. And so we were like preparing for the end, right? Who's going to take care of her? My brother was going to move down. But I was not satisfied. And I took her down to New York City to who I thought was the best neurologist in the world. And I said, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. And it turns out my mom wasn't telling me some symptoms like urinary incontinence. And she was having a problem with her balance. Now, if I would have known that, those are the 3 symptoms. That's the triad. Okay. Urinary incontinence, gait instability, and dementia. That's normal pressure hydrocephalus. And all you do is you put a little shunt in there, and poof. And you know how you diagnose this? This is amazing. And I actually saw this happen in front of my eyes. What you do is you do a spinal tap. You draw out fluid, right? And you see what happens. And so here's my mom. She can hardly talk. So far gone, right? And this is a mom who double majored in chemistry and English. I mean, her brain, her intellect, she was a nurse. It was her whole life, book reading, right? And then all of a sudden reduced to not being able to walk, not being able to talk. They do the spinal tap, pull out this fluid, and all of a sudden my mom is back. Life into her eyes, talking normally, completely normal, until about 2 hours when the pressure starts building up, and then she drops down. And it's like flowers of Algernon, like reversed, right? All of a sudden you just see her melt away, and she could feel it. She could realize what was happening. So you put a little shunt in, and poof, mom's better. All right, okay. So she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and was cured because she'd never had Alzheimer's. So you should never take an Alzheimer's diagnosis at face value. You want second opinions, you want third opinions, you want fourth opinions, because once you have it, there's not much you can do about it, right? Comfort measures. but are you sure you have it? Something like B12 deficiency. Vitamin B12 deficiency can be cured with something you can get at any drugstore. A little B12 supplement can mimic Alzheimer's, right? You have to make sure that they actually have Alzheimer's. That's what we can do at this point. Although Dr. Dean Ornish, after conquering killer number 1, heart disease, then with a plant-based diet, moved to killer number 2, cancer, first person ever to show reversal of the progression of early stage cancer with a plant-based diet, now is doing a randomized controlled trial, plant-based diet for Alzheimer's. Right now, right at the UCSF, the trial is going on right now.
Which is the first of its kind.
First of its kind ever. It's currently ongoing. We have no idea the results. That will be interesting. As far as I predict, we're not going to show anything. I mean, once the nerves are dead, I think they're dead. I don't think they're coming back. But you don't know until you try.
Okay, but you think still it can prevent.
But preventing, absolutely. And so we have good data showing you can actually match the cerebral artery atherosclerosis, the amount of atherosclerosis, particularly in the little arteries going to the memory centers. You can match that on MRI to the progression of the disease, to the development of the disease. So absolutely. So for example, people eating plant-based diets is the original Adventist study, 2 to 3 times less likely to become demented later in life than those who eat meat. And we can actually correlate these changes to what's happening. So it's this clogging of arteries. It's not just in our heart. Atherosclerosis is a systemic disease. That's why the erections. That's why would someone with atherosclerosis, because all arteries of the body start getting clogged up. And we start clogging up the brain, it can not only set you up for a stroke, but it can clamp off blood flow to critical areas, which can lead to multi-infarct dementia or increased risk for Alzheimer's and cognitive decline.